Number 7. Matthew Hardy. Beginning in 2019, a British OnlyFans star experienced a harrowing campaign of harassment at the hands of one of England's most prolific cyberstalkers. As was detailed in subsequent reports, Brighton resident Abby Furness first gained the attention of serial stalker Matthew Hardy after posting a beach photograph from her and her boyfriend's 2019 trip to Ibiza to Instagram. Hardy, an unemployed man from Northwich, Cheshire, became fixated on the young woman and began impersonating her online, sending manipulative messages to her friends and family. The man allegedly attempted to initiate an intimate conversation with one of Furness's colleagues and even sent explicit photographs of her to her boss. Hardy's unrelenting cyberstalking also contributed to the decay of the model's relationship. By way of a fake Instagram account, he reportedly told Furness's boyfriend that she was having an affair. A month later, the couple broke up, and the young woman later cited the trust issues caused by Hardy's deceitful messages as the reason for their split. Hardy was said to have targeted over 60 other women throughout his 11 years of cyberstalking, during which he was arrested on 10 occasions without ever facing jail time. That all changed in January of 2022 when he was convicted of 5 counts of stalking levied against him by the Crown Prosecution Service. Hardy was consequently sentenced to 9 years in prison, more than 6 times the average custodial punishment for stalking. Number 6. Thomas Traficante. Just before 4 p.m. on November the 10th of 2017, roughly a dozen members of the Sigma Kappa sorority at State University College at Geneseo in New York received a concerning text message from an unknown number. The message simply read, "It's not safe out there tonight, Kappas." The following day, a second text was sent from the same number which read in part, "Glad you all mostly took my advice last night. I'm not the threat, but harm is coming." Investigators looked into the ominous texter's number, ultimately determining that it had been generated by an online service and not linked to a particular cell phone. Within a week of the messages being sent, one of the sorority sisters began receiving dozens of calls from men soliciting intercourse. The young woman subsequently discovered that her contact information had been posted on a website advertising escort services without her consent. Shortly thereafter, campus police, in concert with other law enforcement entities, including the FBI, launched an investigation into the Sigma Kappa cyberstalking. The threatening text messages continued into the winter months as investigators worked to identify the harasser. Then in late December, the FBI arrested Long Island man Thomas Traficante, a former boyfriend of one of the Sigma Kappa sisters. He was accused of launching a campaign of abuse and harassment against his ex's sorority, for which he faced charges of cyberstalking and making threats. In June of 2018, the 23-year-old man was sentenced to 4 years in prison by U.S. District Judge David Larimer. Number 5. Robert Merkel. St. Louis man Robert Merkel was released from prison on parole on October the 2nd of 2020 after serving 2 years of a 3-year sentence in connection to previous instances of harassment. The man's probation period ended in October of 2021, the same month he allegedly began sending threatening messages to an unnamed woman. In these alarming, unsolicited communications, Merkel described in graphic detail his desire to break into his victims' homes and assault them. According to his resulting arrest report, Merkel also targeted one of his former partners, claiming that he had a key to her house and was planning on breaking in to abuse her. Between June of 2021 and January of 2022, the man was accused of cyberstalking a total of 5 women, leading to his eventual federal indictment on 2 counts of interstate communication of a threat and 3 counts of cyberstalking. As of the case's most recent updates, the legal proceedings were still ongoing. Number 4. Dawn DeLuise. A former Hollywood salon owner whose celebrity clients included Sarah Michelle Gellar, Alicia Silverstone, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Allison Hannigan, was arrested in March of 2014 for allegedly soliciting a competitor's murder. Los Angeles authorities detailed how Dawn DeLuise believed herself to be the victim of a campaign of harassment perpetrated by a rival named Gabriel Suarez. Shortly after the latter moved his business into DeLuise's neighborhood, her tires were slashed and a Craigslist ad was uploaded, inviting men to stop by her home for intimate favors. The esthetician contacted the authorities about the cyberstalking, but instead of receiving help in tracking down her tormentor, she herself was arrested and charged with solicitation of murder, as well as solicitation of assault. DeLuise was accused of attempting to hire a hitman to eliminate Suarez, whom it later emerged wasn't her stalker in the first place. 31-year-old Edward Feinstein and Nicholas Prugo, aged 24, were identified as DeLuise's actual cyberstalkers. They were each charged with 1 count of solicitation to commit assault and 3 counts of stalking upon being taken into police custody. DeLuise vehemently denied the accusations that she'd sought to kill her rival, and following a trial in January of 2015, she was found not guilty of her criminal charges. In the aftermath of her acquittal, the besmirched salon owner filed a lawsuit against the Los Angeles County Sheriff and a tort claim against Los Angeles County. Number 3. Mohammed Shah Hadir. In June of 2019, Florida man Mohammed Shah Hadir was arrested for cyberstalking his ex-wife, whom he allegedly sent multiple online death threats. The 38-year-old man had previously made national headlines by serving as a police informant in the highly publicized sting operation that dismantled his former lover Dalia DiPolito's 2009 murder-for-hire plot. Shah Hadir's ex-wife of 4 years reported him to Palm Beach County authorities, claiming that he'd been calling her numerous times and at all hours of the day. He'd also sent her vulgar and threatening text messages, one of which reportedly contained pictures of female genitalia. Enraged that his ex had taken their children to Disney World without him, Shah Hadir also sent her a message in which he threatened to murder her and continuously claimed that he was going to send people to her house to beat her up. Although the victim blocked Shah Hadir's numbers, he proceeded to use fake or unlisted ones to continue his harassment campaign. Upon being taken into custody, he was charged with aggravated cyberstalking and written threats to commit bodily injury. In October of 2019, Shah Hadir reached a plea deal with prosecutors that sentenced him to 3 years of probation. Then on October the 24th of 2021, the man's brother went to his Sebring apartment after his family had been unable to reach him for multiple days. Shah Hadir was found dead inside. As of the latest available updates, the authorities hadn't released details regarding the circumstances of his death. Today's topic was requested by Crazy Anime Fan 1. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Nicholas Bowers. In January of 2014, Toronto man Cliff Ford came upon an alarming message sent to his daughter by a man she'd met in an online chat room. Instead of alerting the authorities to the cyberstalker right away, Ford decided to ask the man strategic questions in an attempt to ascertain his identity. Within 3 days, he'd obtained the stalker's full name, Nicholas Bowers, as well as his home address near Akron, Ohio, his place of work, and the type of car he owned. Ford brought the information he'd uncovered to local police in Ohio, who worked in conjunction with Toronto officials to conduct an investigation into Bowers. One of the Canadian officers assigned to the case continued communicating with the cyberstalker under the pretense that he was actually Ford's young daughter. With the evidence subsequently collected, the authorities had enough to carry out a raid of Bowers' residence, during which the 30-year-old man was caught with illegal materials. He was arrested on federal charges to which he later pleaded guilty. In December of 2014, Bowers was sentenced to 21 years and 8 months behind bars. Number 1. The Matusiewicz family. Delaware couple David Matusiewicz and Christine Belford initiated divorce and child custody proceedings in 2007. According to a Justice Department press release, the former and his mother, Lenore, absconded with the 3 children born of his marriage to Belford in August of that same year. They fled to Nicaragua, where they were discovered 2 years later residing in a motorhome. David and Lenore were arrested and charged with kidnapping, and the 3 children were subsequently returned to Belford's custody. David was sentenced to 48 months in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. In December of 2009, while the man was incarcerated, he began orchestrating a vicious cyberstalking campaign against his ex-wife He enlisted the aid of his parents, sister, and others, who disseminated false and defamatory allegations against Belford across various means of communication, including mail, email, and internet postings. The stalking campaign continued until February the 11th of 2013, the day on which David received permission to attend a child support arrearage hearing at the Newcastle County Courthouse in Delaware. David and his father, Thomas, traveled to the courthouse with a murder kit that contained ammunition, a military-style knife, a bulletproof vest, and an electric shock device. Shortly before 8 a.m., after David had passed through a security screening, Thomas remained in the lobby where he gunned down Belford, as well as Laura Mulford, who'd accompanied her to the courthouse that day. He then attempted to flee the scene and injured 2 Capitol police officers in the ensuing shootout before succumbing to a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the sidewalk outside. In the aftermath, multiple members of the Matusiewicz family were taken into police custody and charged in connection to the murders. Following a 5-week trial in the summer of 2015, David, Lenore, and the former sister, Amy Gonzalez, were convicted of conspiracy, interstate stalking resulted in death, and cyber stalking resulted in death. It was reported as the first U.S. case in which defendants were found guilty of the latter charge, and the presiding judge consequently imposed life sentences for each of them. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be inundated with phone calls and texts from your ex, or see a therapist who constantly reminds you of your various flaws? Let us know in the comments section below.